Next up at UFC 296, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Alexandre Pantoja defending his belt for the very first time against Brandon Royval. This is a rematch. They have already fought. This time, it'll be for the belt. Alexandre Pantoja, 26-5 overall, 4-1 in his last 5 coming into that first title defense. He's taking on Brandon Royval, 15-6 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is riding a 3-fight win streak after the submission loss to Pantoja in 2021. Pantoja is a really fun fighter. He loves just walking forward, going to work. He's got good power. He'll give some real damage. Also a fantastic grappler who's got good control with ground and pound. Striking's pretty formulaic. He's not going to take a whole bunch of risks or chances doing stuff, but it can be effective when he combines it with some power and pressure. He's very, very durable. He's very durable, and the only people that really have been beating him are people that will go 100% all in on the wrestling. And that's not who Brandon Royval is. This guy's incredibly exciting. He will take chances. He will shoot his shot. He's always looking for a finish. He's got plenty of cardio to set a relentless pace for 15 minutes. I can only assume he's got that same cardio for 25 minutes. He's a solid grappler. He's got tricky submissions, and he will chase them. He will chase things that he shouldn't be chasing. He'll put himself into harm's way because he thinks there's a submission there. The reality is Brandon Royval is the more dangerous fighter in this matchup. Alexandre Pantoja is probably the more well-rounded, the cleaner, tighter fighter. He's already won this matchup. I think he wins it again. I don't think we need to overcomplicate this. I don't know how they said, okay, Pantoja worked his way to a belt. He beat the champion in a war, but he might not be able to beat that guy that he already beat a few years ago. Like, obviously, he's a favorite, but minus 170, and then there's some other people in this card that are much wider favorites. I think Alexandre Pantoja at minus 170 are phenomenal odds. And then you go look at Dustin Jacoby minus 255. Like, those odds don't make sense to me, right? They should almost be reversed. Pantoja should be the much wider favorite, and Dustin should probably be the tighter favorite. But I do think Pantoja wins this fight. We've seen this fight. I think it's almost the exact same thing all over again. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Oh, boy. Leading up to this, when I heard that fight was announced and everything, it was like, oh, yeah, Pantoja's going to win this fight. I'm a big Brandon Royval fan. I just didn't think that he was going to have enough for a guy like Pantoja. And then I started really kind of watching the film and digging into the film. And Pantoja's a guy that he gets fucking lit up, man. I mean, that dude, he eats it all. But that dude gets hit like it's fucking, like he's getting paid per punch to his face. I mean, it is crazy how much he gets hit. And in that title fight versus Brandon, he was like a dude fucking possessed. I mean, the stuff that he was able to walk through, and it looked like he was done and gassed or in the middle of the second round. And then it was him taking the pressure and getting the takedowns versus Brandon in that fight. Now, I thought Brandon actually won that fight. It was definitely a close fight. I don't think anybody got robbed. But I thought that Brandon did enough to win the fight, and Pantoja got the takedowns, but Brandon was doing a little bit more on the feet. Brandon obviously had the broken hand or whatever it was. But Pantoja, I don't think anybody was going to really beat Pantoja that night, especially not finish Pantoja. And that's the issue here. And like I said, I'm picking Pantoja, but I'm starting to hedge a little bit on. I get the Brandon Royval stuff because I watched that fight, the first fight, and you could tell that Pantoja was uncomfortable with the pressure. And that's what Brandon Royval does the best. It's pressure, pressure, pressure. And if he had a little bit more pop in his hands, I might start leaning a little bit to Brandon Royval because of how hittable Pantoja is. But Brandon Royval's never had a knockout with his hands. His knockouts have come with elbows and knees. And yeah, he might be able to land something like that. But even if he lands something like that, I think he even landed a knee in the first matchup against Pantoja. And Pantoja literally just eats everything, man. It's crazy the chin that this guy has. And when it went to the wrestling and went to the grappling, Pantoja was kind of just big brothering him. I mean, Royval is a very active guy. He knows what he's doing on the ground. He knows how to roll through positions. But Pantoja also is very high level, and you could see the strength difference. He was rolling through stuff, but kept control, kept that body lock, and was able to find that submission. So I'm going with Pantoja here because I think they do start wrestling, they do start grappling, and Pantoja showed that he can withstand the wild scrambling of Brandon Royval. But he is a hittable guy. Brandon Royval is a guy that is going to take chances. And weirder stuff have happened than Brandon Royval coming in and finding something weird in a scramble or with a knee or an elbow or something against Pantoja. So I'm Pantoja here. I was feeling really good about it, and I almost was going to follow you with a Pantoja bet because I think if you like Pantoja, it is pretty good value. But there's something about Brandon Royval. I'm just like, yeah, I like that dude, Royval, man. But I'm going Pantoja. I'm not going to bet him though.
Yeah, I mean, Royval's exciting, a ton of fun to watch. He takes chances. He puts himself in harm's way to try to find stuff. But I mean, we saw this fight 2 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And since then, Pantoja has become the champion of the world. Like, I'm surprised. Do you agree that these odds should be much wider than this? They tightened. He opened as a 260 favorite, and they tightened.
He should probably be at least a 2-1. I mean, he's the champion. He beat Brandon Moreno 3 times now. I mean, it's not like he just barely beat Brandon Moreno.
Lucked into it, yeah.
I mean, he's already beat Royval, so maybe it's a Brandon thing. I mean, he just really kind of smokes these Brandons.
Smoking Brandons. No, it's just these odds perplexed me just a little bit. I'll let you guys look that word up, but that just surprised me. So I don't typically try to find even more value, but I'm going to dig into the prop bets here. I think Pantoja probably wins by. I think this is the same fight. Maybe not an early submission like last time, but I think he'll finish Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval can be a feast or famine guy. He's got plenty of cardio, but he takes too many chances and can put himself into harm's way. So we're both on the Pantoja side. I think $8,600 is a spectacular price for DraftKings Fantasy. You have 5 rounds to work with, and he's already finished this guy.
And if I'm playing Royval, honestly, I mean his submission is plus 675. I don't think you're going to knock out a guy like Pantoja, but you could do enough to make him in a panic shot or something, or you find something in the scramble. I think if Royval wins, it's going to be in a weird scramble that he's able to kind of work something in submission.
That's
plus
his
675.
thing.
I mean, his KO is plus 255. I wouldn't touch that. I would rather play the submission side if you're going to play it, and you're getting much better than the plus 160 money line odds.
Yeah, I mean, and that's Brandon's thing, snatching things up in wild scrambles.
And I don't think he's going to win a decision. I don't
take.
think he's going to out grapple and like control Pantoja or win the striking for 5 rounds. So.
Yeah, I think they're just giving Pantoja Royval a ton of credit for knocking out Mateusz Nicolau, who's a great prospect, great striker.
You know what's funny about that? If you watch that, because it's her and Luana, by the way. Man, he about to fucking smoke Luana. That was actually kind of a power couple. They both looked like they were going to be like the next like things for the divisions. And when he lands that knee, you hear the knee land pop, and you hear Luana in the corner go, "Oh!" It's so funny. You can hear her scream, "Oh!"
Yeah, well, I mean, he's definitely dangerous, and I think he's getting a lot of credit for that win. Great win. He should get credit for it, but I think he's getting a little too much credit for that win. So we're both on Pantoja. I will have him in my lineup. I think $8,600 is a great price on the current champion who's already won this fight and has 5 rounds to work with.